following announcement has been paid for by the Celtic World Order.
Hello there, good evening, a very late evening. Welcome back to the channel, Celtic World Order podcast. Because we're here to talk about a few things, aren't we? We've got that massive game in Munich tomorrow night. It's make or break, and as you've seen for the tagline, quite simply, Celtic and Brendan must go all in if we are to get a win. I'm joined here tonight by the OGs, my bearded brother, Paddy Boy, and also my other bearded and bald brother down the bottom there, which is Paul D. Guys, it's good to have you on. Looking forward to this one.
Yeah, definitely, mate. After Wednesday night's performance, obviously me and you covered it, Steve. It'll be interesting to see what Paul thought of it. I'm quite looking forward to tomorrow, actually. I think it'll be a decent enough game. Yeah, all good. Been a busy couple of days, so...
Yourself, Paul? Yeah, what are you geared up for
that? Going into this game with quiet excitement. Not jumping to any over-the-top estimations as to what will happen. But we're in this on merit and looking forward to it. And the games in between, you know, the Dundee United game, I thought we played excellent as well. Never really got out of third gear, if honestly. And this game can't come quick enough.
Absolutely. Well, we'll touch on the game at the weekend. We'll get your thoughts, obviously, because we didn't get them, on what you thought of Bayern at Celtic Park. And, of course, we'll look towards tomorrow night's game. But before we do that, a wee bit of housekeeping at the start, says welcome back to the channel. If you're a returning subscriber, then thank you very much. We really do appreciate you supporting the channel. If you're new, it's a warm welcome to you as well. Just make sure that you do us a wee favour, do us a wee hand there, and give us a like, give us a wee share, subscribe. It costs you absolutely nothing to do that, and it really helps us grow. You can get us on X at CWPod 1888, and you can also get us on TikTok, and you can get us on Spotify if you want to catch up on the move. Plenty of ways to support the channel, and hopefully you do that. So before we crack on, there's one wee bit of business we'll get out there. As you may have seen on the community page here under posts, we did the live raffle for the Did I Get Signed Top. You've seen it, you all know what it's all about. You've heard from the man himself. That is on our X account. However, we done that. There's a post on there and you can reference it, and the winners were chosen, and I shall read them out to you right now in case you are watching. So the first prize, in fact, let's go backwards. In fifth place, it was one of the signed 8x10s that Paddy was showing off there. There's a variety of different styles there, and believe it or not, out of 74 entries, a lot of people had multiple entries, so they had a good chance to win that. Gaz from the Eagle pub in Coatbridge, he won twice. He was fifth and he was fourth. So he has got two of those 8x10s. We did caveat that and said in the event that Gaz is happy to have just one of them and he wants to donate the other. If that is the case, then we will give that away on one of our upcoming live streams. In third place was Ewan McKinnon. He gets one of the 8x10s. Second place was Paul Shannon. He gets the new design Celtic World Order t-shirt and one of the 8x10s. And of course, our final winner was Ewan McKinnon, who I guess he had multiple spots in there. There's a couple at 5, a couple at 10, and so on and so forth. He wins the 8x10 and, of course, more importantly, wins the signed top. Now, because of that, we took another two. We drew out another two names because we had an extra couple of 8x10s so that we could get more winners. And number 63 was John from the Big Tree in Coatbridge. He was a winner, and also Chris Boyle. He was our other additional winner. So if you are one of those winners, get onto our X at CWPod 1888. Give us a wee DM, give us your postal details, and we'll get them out to you in due course. And thank you to everybody for taking part in that. As you'll see on the link, you'll see in the video, we used a website called Wheel Picker. It's random. You populate it, you click it. You can go and do it yourself, and you can see it is 100% random. It just so happened that we had two extremely lucky people that won twice, but that is quite frankly the luck of the draw. Anyway, get that in the bin. Let's get down to business because there's football to be talking about. And as we say, we had Bayern last week, we had Dundee United at the weekend. I think on the par of both, I thought pretty good performances. Of course, 3-0 domestic demolition. Didn't get out of third gear, as you said, Paul. Very nice. But just for, more important, looking at tomorrow, what was your thoughts on the home match against Bayern? Me and Paddy have come on here and spoke about it. Where were you at with that one, and did it give you any real signs of proper hope getting into this game tomorrow night? Tomorrow night.
Aye, it did. Fantastic showing. Really getting into the game. Didn't really think I was going to be talking about a game against Bayern Munich where there was one goal in it, to be honest. I thought we competed well. We really did kind of cover the park well. I thought there was a lot of opportunity where players could really get in the faces of the Bayern players without overcommitting. We managed to hold them off. Adamida, again, I thought he was absolutely brilliant. And I think we really did defend well. We defended really strongly against a team that are just absolutely brilliant, top heavy with talent. Thomas Muller comes strolling on late into the game. We were talking about him before the game. He was on the social media. I forgot he was even still playing. He just comes jogging on. You're thinking, this is just a team full of absolute superstars. But no, I think over the piece we held our own. A wee bit of naivety at times, but it's Bayern Munich at such a high level.
Yeah.
But to be going into this second leg with just a goal between us, I think is a brilliant achievement, and we're there fighting.
In terms of the game, Paul, as I say, when Paddy and I were speaking to it, and I've given it a wee watch back as I usually like to do and sort of take a second look at it. Actually, really quite surprising. I know that stats mean nothing and the game can feel completely different. I had a wee look at it to see. The stats apparently said that possession-wise, they shaded at 57% to our 43. Shots were about 10 apiece. Obviously, on target being a lot more. They had 5 to our 2. Corners, I think, 7 apiece. That's something we'll go on to. We want to talk about how we need to be scoring goals, taking advantages of that, making it really, really count. And of course, we all know there was no cards, and our goalkeeper, Kasper Schmeichel, was, he worked his socks off and definitely saved us. But when we were sitting talking about it, I never felt that. I felt that clearly Bayern are an elite side. You can see that. Full of athletes. They looked as if they were in cruise control. They never looked like they were breaking a sweat. Everything was done with relative ease. But as I say, the goals and the way that we lost them, probably not what we were expecting. I know when you're at home, you've obviously got the home advantage and things are going to go into your favour. But we've seen against top teams like this, you can be completely outdone. It feels like you're chasing shadows. I think it was too poor, almost individual mistakes for the goals, but I don't know if you felt this way. I never really felt at any point that the goal was, say, inevitable and that there was going to be a floodgates opening.
Aye, yeah. The way we approached the game, the way we went into it, as I say, we looked compact. We looked as if the tactics and how to play against this team, there was a lot of work done obviously behind the scenes. But as you say, on the night, it's just a couple of daft mistakes. And really, if you look back on it, they'll be critical within the camp, thinking this could have been done, that could have been done. It's different when you're there, I suppose, and you've got a team like that with the talent that they possess, coming at you. And at times, a bit naive, but overall, I'm still more than happy with the effort. The application that was on show was fine, fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. And of course, we'll move on to what we just saw at the weekend. Listen, I'm very aware that I probably like a cat in a hot tin roof. So in case you're not aware, I'm not grimacing and making strange faces because my bowels are about to empty. I'm just in a world of pain, so I'm constantly having to readjust my seating here because of my back injury. But my surgery is en route, so I'm happy. So anyway, that's a by the by. I'm sure that these guys will have enough good chat that my stupid looking face will not be putting you off. But anyway,
it's commendable, honestly.
But back to the weekend's action, Paddy. We get into that one. Obviously, it was a good opportunity to rest some players, and of course, we've done that. What I did like to see, because we'll go on to when we talk about what we expect the lineup to be. For example, we had Schlupp in it. Left back, we saw Ralston coming in to deputise. Engels, your favourite player at the moment, was dropped down to the bench in favour of McCowan. And Yang, again, we'll talk about Yang, I'm sure, because it was from Magic Munich to Mingen domestic, I suppose, if you want to put it like that. He started ahead of Kuhn, obviously getting more minutes into Jota's legs to ensure that he's going to be a starter there. 3 goals as well, 2 in the first half, 1 in the second. In terms of the game against Dundee United, pretty satisfied with what you saw, mate, in terms of the guys, particularly Schlupp. What did you think of him coming in there?
Yeah, I thought he performed really well. He looked comfortable on the ball. He had that shot as well. He clips it with the outside of his boot and it bends round and cracks off the inside of the post. Incredible effort. And we've seen him score goals like that in the Premier League and things. He's not scared to have a dig, and it was nice to see that. It was nice to see him actually look as if he had a bit of freedom. You said about Yang there, Steve, as well. I thought Yang played all right. Listen, he got the assist for the goal as well for Callum. He sets up Callum McGregor for the first goal. Captain again showing us how it's done. This one wasn't from outside the box, however, it was right on the edge of it.
On the periphery.
Listen, brilliant. You said about Jota. Brilliant to see Jota getting some minutes into the legs as well. We're told that he isn't fully fit. He's only working on about 65 to 70%. Mate, Jota is better than Pelé. I will say that right now. Jota, unbelievable. Honestly, what a player this boy is. You don't know what he's going to do. I don't even think he knows what he's going to do when he goes down to that wing. He goes left, he goes right, he comes back, he goes forward. It's just phenomenal.
I can't believe you'd turn your back on Rio Hatai that quick. You're so fickle.
I still love Rio. I still love him, and I still hate Arnie Engels. But Jota at the minute he's unplayable, mate. The guy, he's going to tear Bayern a new one. Bring him on.
Yes.
That's maybe overcome. 4-0, there you go. You hold that one in. In terms of the United game there, Paul, yeah, I had a watch through it. I didn't think it was anything, it was standard domestic fare. Yeah. We know that, Goodwin always is very well prepared sides, and looking at the big man up front, we thought we can't afford to give him any chances, but the game just didn't quite pan out the way that some folk perhaps felt that it would have. I think there was always that idea that it could be a banana skin, it could be a wee tricky one, post-European, would we have had that hangover, would we have struggled with form? But absolutely not. I thought it was very by the numbers. I thought we were cruising. I don't ever think that they really, really troubled us at any points. And for me, again, yeah, it's Dundee United, yeah, you're at home. But in terms of Jeffrey Sloop coming in, I'm fairly impressed and sold on what we've seen him so far. As I say, I think that when he came on against Bayern, he had a very shaky 5-minute settling period. There was a couple of times he lost possession. He was a bit sus positionally, run the ball out of play and the likes. But then, once he had sussed out where he was, what we were doing, got the tempo of the game, I felt it was very robust. I felt you could see that he was a seasoned pro. And again, no disrespect to Taylor, because it's easy to slag him off. You just saw that there's levels in Sloop that you won't get for Taylor. And that'll be interesting when we'll look at the game against Munich, because how do we want to play this one? We know we always talk about that inverted role and overloading the box and the midfield and things like that. For me, I think you've just got to go with dependability. The likes of him, put Sloop in there. I would say start him for the beginning, mate.
I would fully agree, and a lot of that is based on the fact that the boy Alessi, the boy who used to play for Palace, that obviously scores in the first leg.
Yeah.
Sloop knows him from Palace. Now, the train of thought is that you put Sloop in. Sloop's trained with this guy, worked closely with him, and probably knows the boy inside out in terms of what he's going to do next. Hopefully. I would start him. Yeah, Taylor.
He's got the injuries that he's had, Paul. He knows he's had a wee niggle in his ankle or something.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So the big man comes in their own merit. I think against Dundee United, a workman kind of like performance, a bit of skill in there with a shot off the post as well. And let's not forget, that's a Dundee United team that caused us problems in the last game as well, took points. So to come away with a really kind of business-like performance between European games against a team that have caused us problems speaks volumes for the squad that was rotated as well. So there's been a few changes in there and we just took care of them.
Well, the big question, I suppose, as well there, Paddy, is when we look at what was going to be the big question, and we'll go on to that, it's going to be who's going to start. And we obviously saw Big Ida gets a goal late on in the game, and it is an absolute topper of a goal. I think there was a lot of question marks that were asked in terms of when we played against Bayern, particularly with Adam Ida, and the conundrum was always going to be, do we do something completely different? Do we gamble? Do we roll the dice? Do we, basically what I'm getting at is just, do we play Maeda through the middle, and do we use Kuhn and Jota and just go all speed, all attack and try to go for it? In terms of Ida against Bayern at Parkhead, there was a lot of criticism simply because he's size and he's quite lumbering and what have you. He's got strength, he's got energy, but what he obviously doesn't have is he can't press quite as well as, even Kyogo For as much as that he'd come under criticism, he doesn't have that, and he can't go to that well for the 65, 70 minutes that he's going to be on before he gets substituted off. And I felt that energy was sapped out of him quite early on, but it just made something as simple as the first pass from the goalkeeper or defender into the midfield. It was like that. It just happened because there was no... They could walk, they could take steps, 3, 4, 5 steps of the ball before they'd release it because they didn't have that striker breathing down their neck.
Yeah.
Of course, you don't have that trouble against Dundee United. His goal aside, did you see anything in either against Dundee United that you'd say, yeah, I definitely think Brendan's going to stick him straight in?
I think it's different levels. You spoke about levels before, Steve-O, and the levels of the defenders for Dundee United and the levels for the defenders of Bayern Munich. Bayern Munich have got Upamecano and Eric Dyer in there. He does not going to shove him off the ball. He's not going to use his physicality against them because they'll just batter him. Against Dundee United, he can use that physicality. He was up against lesser players and he can use that ability to back in and whatever else. Looking back at the Bayern game, I don't think Adam Ida had a bad game. I think he held the ball up well. I think he got other players involved in the play. I think, other than lacking pace, I think he had pretty much everything else in that game. However, when we seen the change and we seen Daizen Maeda coming on, the press was incredible. You seen Manuel Neuer, one of the most experienced goalkeepers in the world, shite his pants when Daizen Maeda is bombing it towards him, as would any goalkeeper, because the guy just puts you under so much pressure. I spoke to quite a lot of people about it on Saturday when I was watching the game and stuff. I've spoke to a few Celtic fans here and there on different social medias, and every single person pretty much that I've spoken to has said we have to go with Daizen through the middle straight for the start. Just for the sheer carnage of it. Just to put them on the back foot straight away and go, right, we're not here just to take part, we're here to take this. We're here to take over, basically. We need to go at them, grab them by the jugular and go for it. I think it needs to be an attacking Celtic side, not a stupid attacking Celtic side, not go out there and for everything. However, like you said, bring in Jeffrey Schlupp. He knows Michael Olise, he knows what he's like, he knows him for Palace, like Paul said. Bring him in. I think the rest of the team pretty much picks itself. I don't think McCowan or Bernardo have done anything to...
Well, we heard Bernardo's out for 5 weeks, so we don't even know have that option.
So I don't think McCowan's done anything to show that he needs to start over Engels. So I think it will be the tried and tested Engels, McGregor, Hatate in there. The main position for me, I think Schlupp will be a starter. The only position that I am not 100% on is Ida over Maeda. I'd love to see Maeda there. I really would.
Well, on that, as I says, on that one, reflecting back, Paul, to the Dundee United games, it says we don't need to cover it off too much because it was job done without being too flamboyant and too much really happening. Very business-like, as we say. I probably agree with Paddy's sentiment there. I think it's going to be Johnson will slot back in place of Ralston, of course. I'm all for going with Jeffrey Schlupp. I think we've just got to play this one very straight-lined. You know, if it's essentially just play it 4-3-3. Forget this idea of overlapping and packing out the midfield with the additional sort of inverted full-back role and that. But listen, I'm sure Jeffrey Schlupp, with his experience, if he needs to do that at times, he can muck in. But I think we've just got to play this one straight line. And I agree with the sentiment that we need to go out attack. Now, in terms of this, Brown Warriors brought this up. I want to reflect, as I say, between your eye, what you saw of him against Munich, and then, of course, what we saw against the United as Yang. Now, I'll be totally honest. I would definitely not start him. I think that there's no doubt about it. When Yang came on against Bayern, I thought he was fantastic. I thought he looked full of energy. He was taking on a man. He was committing himself. Obviously, he was involved in the goal, albeit fresh airs it. But a really good performance. I think he's possibly a guy who's, as much as I still think there's a lot of question marks over his long term at Celtic, I think that it's a case of he's an impact guy. I don't ever see him starting, and I think in terms of coming back to why I would play Schlupp, it's about trusting and knowing that somebody can do it. I get that he'll have more energy than perhaps Jota starting based off of where he's at in his recovery. But Yang, for you, is that one? Do you see anything between the good appearance against Munich and against Dundee United to change your thoughts on him?
He's building confidence, I think. He's had his critics and we've all been there. He's had several opportunities where it's not happened for him. But laterally, it appears that he's found a wee bit of confidence and he's taking players on and going to that thing called the byline, where a lot of wingers like to, frequent, and long may it continue. And he's got, mixing it up a wee bit and getting involved in some incidents that have led to a goal or two. So, do you know what I mean? Let him get his wee cameos and stuff and just see how he gets on. But, overall, is he going to be the answer? Not while Kuhn's here, obviously. But, would I start him tomorrow? No. I think the front will be, for me, I would think it will be Kuhn, Maeda, and obviously the left-hand side is...
in terms of Yang, obviously I said I'm maybe a wee bit slightly overcritical, perhaps. I felt... Yeah, I know he helps with the assist for one of the goals at the weekend, but I just felt it was like there's two different versions of Yang.
Aye.
There's this guy that you bring on for a wee cameo on a European, and he's, full of gusto and he wants to go at it, and then you flip side that and you give him a chance to really stake a claim properly, giving him a starting berth, and it's just that same mixed bag that we've got there. Has that been unfair?
No, that does seem to be a kind of very much a Jekyll and Hyde. I think it's just a confidence thing. He's still a young player. He's trying to find his way in. The football here is completely different from what he's used to. He's had enough opportunities to be able to know and adapt to it now. But I think there's definitely an argument to say that maybe he's not going to be a Celtic player long term. Who knows how it'll evolve? We're yet to see between now and the end of the season. He will get more game time. Hopefully there's no kind of injuries going forward, but he will get game time here and there. But he just needs to take the bull by the horns now. He's had plenty of opportunities, but I think there's a wee glimmer there. There's a wee glimmer, but I don't think he needs to be alive.
When he was brought in, he's a project player, basically, isn't he? He's one of the guys that was brought in, I think, just basically to progress him a little bit and then sell him on and make a bit of money off. He's never going to be a starter, especially like you said over Nicholas Kuhn. He's never ever going to get that position back there. You spoke about Yang as well. Was it somebody the other day? We're talking about the Dundee United game. Said he's an enigma. He's like that. He's an absolute worldie against Bayern. He comes on and he's attacking these players and he's going at it. Yeah, he's a fresh air show and whatever. And then he comes up against Dundee United in the league and basically he's not even doing anything. It's as if he's not trying. And it's quite a strange one because obviously the league's your bread and butter. You want to see them do that. Yes, everybody knows the Champions League is the shop window where everybody wants to put themselves out there. And listen, Jota's already been doing that as well. He's putting himself in there and he's showing people what he can do.
Get yourself out the shop window. He's just back, Paddy, right? There is no shop window. Shop's closed. Shutters are down.
You say there as well, Paul. Do you actually reckon Maeda will start?
I think he will. I think he'll go for it. I don't think.
I really don't.
I don't think it will be seen as gung ho, but I've just got the impression, between him and Ida, it's a hard one to call. I've just got a sneaky feeling. I don't know why. I just got a sneaky feeling that he'll put him in for the start.
I really don't. Let us know what you think in the comments. Who you reckon Brendan will start with? I 100% reckon he'll start with Ida. Although I would love him to start Maeda. I really would.
Well, I do have some starred comments already. So get those thoughts coming in. Yeah. About the Bayern game, we're on the cusp of talking about it, so get them in there because so far at the moment it's Brown Warrior that's been catching my eye with the suggestions around that game. So let us know what you think ahead of that, and we'll get round and try to get your comments up. Let us know your thoughts on how we need to attack this one.
One of my thoughts is, see the way that Maeda plays and what he brings the front line. If they're looking at us and trying to scout how they're going to set up against us. And they'll have seen, obviously, plenty of footage of what Maeda's done long and weary and how he's getting involved in everything this season. His numbers speak for themselves. But it just gives you that element of, what is he going to do? And I don't think the rest of the team at times know just the things that he does on and off the ball. That's what I mean. It's just that element that might just be the magical touch for tomorrow night. Maybe wrong, who knows?
In terms of to polish off the weekend's action there, obviously, Paddy, you spoke about Jota gets another goal. You want to talk about absolute cracking returns to a club, then it doesn't get any much better for him. And as you say, we've been told this guy's only about 65, maybe 70% fit, and you wouldn't have thought that. He's one that I felt at the weekend, you just see the levels, you see the difference in it. And certainly Kuhn, I think it looks as he's got a wee sort of, not necessarily a bee in his bonnet, but there's maybe a wee bit of an extra spring in him as well, where he knows that there's real proper competition here, as we say. Obviously, there's the Maeda issue as well for him. So I really like what I'm seeing. I thought he had a great game again against Dundee United. He settled in very, very well. Again, coming back to the fact that we didn't do that, though, I think out of the guys that we saw, as we said, you can forget Ralston, you can forget McCown. It's just not happening. They're not going to be starting. That's not even up for debate as far as I'm concerned. Minus some, freak injury, which touchwood doesn't come along, they're not going to start. But Jota, there's a question, Paddy. We talk about 65 to 70%. So let's just say if you can only get 60 minutes out of Jota, are you better putting that on at the start and going for the throat and trying to get that action rather than perhaps bringing him on when you're maybe chasing the game or the game's long away from you?
Well, if you're going to get 60 minutes out of him, you're not going to bring him on after half an hour, are you? Let's be honest, you're not going to disrupt the team 30 minutes into a match. So you've got to start him, in my opinion. You've got to have him in there. His ability on the ball. If you'd have said to me we were going to bring in a winger that was going to take the place of Daizen Maeda in January, I'd have laughed in your face. I'd have told you you were on smack, you were doing everything. I wouldn't have, do you know what I mean? I told you to get out of the way. However, you look at the way Jota's come in. He's come in here and he's got the bit between the teeth. Like people are saying in the comments, he knows what it means. He's come back in here. He's a Celtic fan now. He's one of these guys. He's a poster boy. He's the ready-made superstar. And going down that wing, it goes down and he cuts inside and he cuts back, and he's so unpredictable. And it's such a good thing to have, especially when you're coming up against experienced defenders, guys like Conrad Leimer, who's been at the top of the game for God knows how long. This Bayern Munich team is frightening. Do you know what I mean? It's a scary, scary team when you look at it. You're looking at it on paper and you're going, right, wait a minute here. Everything came through Joshua Kimmich. He's the guy who needs to be silenced. If we can silence Joshua Kimmich, you silence Munich. It's as simple as that, because everything went through him. And I just think that having guys like Jota Daizen through the middle, it's going to cause that bit of carnage, like we said, that wee bit of upset that's going to not let them get into the groove, because as soon as they do, they held possession. We've seen the stats and stuff, and me and you spoke about it, Steve. Well, I didn't think it was as even as what it said it was. I thought Bayern dominated the possession. I thought they were so much more comfortable on the ball. I thought we got not lucky, but we made our own luck. From about the 60th, 65th minute onwards, I thought we started to come into the game a lot more. Our fresh legs certainly helped us with that. So I think if you've got 65% fit Jota and you're going to get 60 minutes out of him, take the 60 minutes, mate, and then you bring on somebody, or you bring on Ida even. At that point, if you start with Daizen, then you bring on Ida and you move Maeda across, you're still getting that pace down the wing, and then you've got a target man, Ida, to hold the ball up essentially and waste a bit of time if we need to.
And you've got Maeda moving back to the position that we know he can cause havoc in as well.
Yeah, exactly. So you're not getting somebody out of position, you're actually pushing somebody across who's incredible in that position anyway. So
and it's good to have these options. So as we say, putting the weekend's action to bed, looking at tomorrow night. Yep, so let's get round to it then. As it says, as we've said in the tagline there, Brendan needs to go all in to get a win. And for me, that is what we've just been discussing there, what people are shouting. It's about playing your best attacking side. Because what did we learn from that game? Well, as we say, it was a period where, and as Brown Warrior says here, he thought that, we took it from them then from 65 minutes onwards. And why was that? That's when we had those changes. That's when, we shifted Maeda in. That's when you introduced the likes of Jota. You had that. Now, as we say, it's a roll of dice for Celtic going over here tomorrow. It literally is it's all or nothing for them. they literally don't have anything to lose and everything to gain. And I get that we have been on the end of scuddings, and I'm not wanting to sacrifice. We've been on here and saying, show a bit of pragmatism, try and, don't go completely gung-ho. Now, I'm not suggesting that, but I think we have to have more attacking flair, because what did we do better against them at home? It was when we pressed them. It's when we had those fast guys to ask the question of them. And as we say, again from Brown Warrior, if you looked at Leverkusen, that is exactly what happened there. They struggled with us, and 0-0 with Leverkusen at the weekend. Why? Because they had the players pressing them. Now that obviously raises the questions about fitness levels. Kuhn has been getting rested to allow Jota to get up to speed. We know that is fact. Maeda, guy doesn't need rested, it appears, so you're good there, right? So I think it's really just down to a question of, in terms of how much can you get out of Jota. Now, the alternative option, as we say, is, well, there might not even be an alternative option. It might just be Kuhn, and it might be Maeda, and it might be either through the middle. However, if he really wants to go for the throat and try and do something and tire them out early, then that would be Maeda through the middle, and it would have to be Jota on the left. I understand Yang's fitter and everything else, but he's proven that he can't be depended on, unfortunately, to start.
Yeah.
Do you kind of prescribe to that at all, Paul?
Aye. I think for me, as you say, the emphasis is on, we're already here. We're at this level where we're underdogs. People are not expecting us to do anything. I don't think he'll go gung-ho, but I think starting with Maeda just gives you that element of, causing them a bit of a shock. I know Ida's been playing great. He takes his goal brilliantly at the weekend. The technique at the weekend to get that ball out his feet and dip it in was absolutely top level. I just think Maeda, he'll just be able to give them that kind of runaround where it can open things up and about,
Mm-hmm.
But we'll never know, and we'll go well. We'll soon know tomorrow night. But I think it's the right setup for me with Jota coming in for the start as well.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that's the way that we have to go with it, Paddy. The big question, it's going to be one of the ones, isn't it? It's quite, we've spoke about it over and over already. And is it going to be Ida, or is it going to be Maeda? Now, when you listen to the after comments from Brendan Rodgers regarding Ida's performance, he was, as he does, he didn't miss. He wasn't hypercritical, but he essentially says doesn't press enough, and he doesn't show that intensity of the press. Now, is that him showing his hand? Is that a nod to Ida to say improve that? Because again, as I say, in terms of did he do that against the United? Well, he done the same level of pressing, the same quality of pressing as he did against Bayern Munich. The only difference being it's Dundee United. They're not exactly elite athletes. They are good athletes, but they're not elite athletes. So you can't really look at what he did at the weekend and say, yeah, I thought it was a work rate and effort. It was up levels on what he done against Bayern Munich. Because quite frankly, they're chalk and cheese. They're two different things. They're almost non-comparable. But I think that kind of comments from Rodgers, as we've seen throughout the season, he's telling you something. And I just get this feeling that with Maeda, his form, he is now our highest goal scorer in the Champions League. Look at some of the absolute legends behind him. You've got to play that. And I think that, as you say, when you look at how much they were hassled when we made that switch, have that for the start.
Yeah.
We need to. The midfielders are going to have to take care of the dirty work. That's going to have to be composed. Everybody's going to have to compose to a man. But if we want to try and get a foothold, we need to try and do it early, because early on in the game, we got that quick start. Mm-hmm. We got that goal. We thought we had the phantom goal. If we could do that in Bayern Munich, we could do that in Munich and get an early goal with the high energy players starting, then it could be a different story.
Yeah, listen, I agree. I'd love it. I'd love to see Dice Maeda start up there. And I heard Brendan's comments, and we've heard it before about him as well, when he talks about Dice and said he's the best at pressing in the game, that he's come across as the best person in the world, basically. He reckons at doing that part of the game, that high press, that intensity. I think one of the things I noticed, and we spoke about it as well, was Reo Hatate playing in the advanced role. Callum McGregor sitting in like an old school number 6, and then Engel sitting kind of near the centre circle. So they were in a kind of inverted triangle. Basically, they weren't sitting in a straight line. Like your midfielders, they were kind of all over the place. I'd like to see Rio sit back a little bit more in this game and give Engels the possible chance to push forward, because I hate to say it, he's probably better in that attacking position. Mm-hmm. He's not so good at doing the dirty work, like you said, Steve. He's not the guy that's...
Sorry, just to jump in that, whilst I've got you speaking positively of Engels for a change, as we said, we spoke about Engels, and we'd said that he needs to find his role, doesn't he? He needs to find his role in this. Now, one thing that I took away from the game against Munich was there was a lot of criticism around about the general performance of Cal McGregor. Yeah. I think it'd be a bit cruel to, criticise to any great degree any of the team. I thought over the piece it was a good performance, but I do understand being a captain, expectations are going to be high. But anyway, by the by, what I'm getting at is we discussed and we says, rather than us bringing in midfielders to try and supplement Cal McGregor doing what he normally does, perhaps Cal McGregor, as the captain, as the elder statesman, so to speak, he's the one that needs to sacrifice what he would rather do to allow other people do what they should be doing. And what I'm getting at here is as you say, is being more advanced. Arne Engels essentially needs to play the Cal McGregor role, because that's where he's best suited. When we've played him in the slightly deeper role, he can't do it. He doesn't have that level of physicality.
He doesn't have the ability to be that... he's not aggressive enough, is what I'm going to say there. He's not got the bit between the teeth to actually dig in there. And looking at the Bayern team just now, he's up against guys like Leon Goretzka and Joshua Kimmich in there, who are going to fight for the ball. They are going to push you off it. They are going to use their experience. You've got Jamal Musiala, who for Germany in the Euros and the World Cup has been absolutely out of this world. Leroy Sané, do you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous when you rhyme off these players. They brought on Kingsley Coman and Serge Gnabry off the bench. It's phenomenal, the players that these guys are just bringing on, like you said as well, Paul. Thomas Muller strolling on at the end for a cameo appearance. Guys that are absolute legends of the game. It's madness to think of this, and we're going into it going, yeah, but if we do this, we might beat them. It's crazy to think. Listen, exactly, mate, and that's all it takes. If we can get Callum in not the holding role, but kind of sitting forward of the defence, in that kind of position where he likes to hold the ball up, reel Hatate in beside him, and then give Arne Engels the kind of pushing, attacking midfielder role, essentially, along with the two wingers. I think that's what we need to do, because Engels, for me, doesn't have the defensive side of it. However, the attacking side he does have. He's a very similar player to Callum McGregor. We've said that so many times, and that's
that's the thing, Paddy. That's what I'm sort of getting at, as I say, and as rightfully a lot of people are saying, like I had as well. It's quite surprising considering Cal McGregor's Mr. Consistency for Celtic, the great service he's done, is the amount of games we watched him completely control. That there's people that always want to jump down his throat. As I say, I don't think any of those players, any of the guys on that pitch against Bayern at Parkhead had a particularly stinking game. I didn't, and I thought that some of the criticism was really, really harsh considering how that game went. As you say, statistically, I'll tell you, it was a very even game. We had some decent chances, one or two that we maybe snatched at, for example, but that's it. That's finding your level. And I just think that McGregor has a great level of versatility, and I think if we are to get the best out of Arne Engels and stuff, we do play him in that slightly more advanced role that more often than not that we've seen McGregor do, because we've seen that McGregor can, as you say, sit in front of the defence, just not mega deep, but just slightly in front of the defence and control it from there, because he'll give us a steady hand. And I think with his experience, we need him to be moving the chess pieces about, seeing where there's gaps opening up, and that's where we will get the best, not out only him, but off of your Arne Engels and your Hatate, because they are more attack-minded players. Cal McGregor's the full package. He can do it all. And as I say, and I think we've seen that with the times where McGregor has dropped back and allowed Engels to be more advanced, as I say, almost taking one for the team, changing what he does so others can do what they do best. That's the approach to go with if we are going to get success here. Everybody at a man needs to be spot on, but that midfield is going to be huge, because, just have a look at it. Well, it's going to be Kimmich, as we say. If you look at that game, he was just pulling strings at Parkhead. It was phenomenal. Goretzka, Musiala just ahead of him. Then you've got your wingers going to be Sané or Elise. That midfield is insane. You're going to have eyes in the back of your head, the side of your head to get around him, and the expectation, the intensity, pass the buck. It's going to be on them. They're the home team, and I dare say Bayern Munich fans would have probably came away from Celtic Park slightly disappointed at 2-1.
Aye. I saw some of the Bayern kind of fan media stuff and some of their kind of official media, and they absolutely had a great time and really bummed us up, and they with their reaction to Parkhead and you never walk alone. I think they came here with a kind of mindset of turning up and doing the business and disappearing, but they know for a fact they're in the game, albeit they're Bayern Munich. But just getting back to the midfield, I think what you're saying there is absolutely correct. Hatate needs to be a bit more physical. I think we need to be more physical right across the midfield. I thought at times in the first game we were kind of pushed off the ball, or we weren't. There was times where you could have went that extra wee yard and got a tackle in, but they were kind of almost not wanting to commit. This game they have to commit. They have to go for it within reason. But I think the physicality has to be there. And if McGregor sits back and Hatate can start pulling the strings along with some of the passes that Engels has got that we know he can deliver.
Well, I like this comment here, Paddy, that Brown comes in, as we're talking about the Schlupp conundrum. And this is exactly why I'd play him. We sat here and spoke about where McGregor should be to allow the more attack-minded guys thrive in that position. Now, we spoke about Greg Taylor. Why? Because we normally do that inverted and we overload the midfield. Again, no disrespect to Greg Taylor, but the reality is Schlupp is multiple levels above him, right? And I am fairly sure that if you want him to do a wee bit of inversion, then you will get it from him. Now, what else did you just say there moments ago? You spoke about athleticism and the Bayern side being athletes, units, having that intensity. That is what Schlupp has. And I think if you've got him coming in instead of Taylor to give you that wee bit of additional overload and protection in the midfield, when the time is right, that will also potentially allow McGregor to also be part of these attacks as well. So there's a lot of merit in wanting to play Schlupp for that reason.
Yeah, 100%. Listen, and I spoke about it as well, and Paul commented about it. The shot he had at the weekend that cracks the post. He does that on a regular basis. He's got that in his locker. He's got a world in him. And that could be the difference in a game like this. You could get maybe 3-4 chances in the game. You're going to need to put some of them away. See if it comes down to it and he's 25 yards, 30 yards out. He's not scared to have a crack, and we know he's got it in the locker. So for me, he is going to have a pivotal role in there, especially like you said, marking Olise in there. He's going to have some job tracking him. However, when we get to go forward, if we can start to do what Greg Taylor does, and I think obviously Brendan will want every player to play the same formation, the same way that he's managed to get his playing. So that role from the left back, cutting inside and helping out in the middle of the park, I think will be pivotal in there.
The other thing I was going to say was as much as there's this, Schlupp knows about the boy Olise, you've got to capitalise on that. Do you know what I mean? You've got to capitalise on the fact that he's got an inside track on that boy and let him, after he played at the weekend, why not? I think the issue is that obviously Taylor's yet to sign this new deal. His head's elsewhere, potentially, so you've got to go with that with Schlupp for me.
Well, in terms of Bayern Munich, we happen to know maybe it's one of those annoying mind games, but apparently Harry Kane took a right sore one in the Fuzog, and he is potentially not going to be playing. Now, of course, in the normal run of things, they asked Brendan about this, and it was almost a joke where he kind of just laughed and says, well, I'm sure they will have an adequate world-class player that they can put in there instead. So, do you know what I mean? It with no danger that you're either going to end up with Müller, or you can also put in Gnabry, or you can put in Sané. They've also played as an advanced forward role. But in terms of, we've got to take care of ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves on. It's irrelevant to really who they play. We've got to play at our optimum. But Harry Kane being missing, could that make that much a difference?
Not really. What does he do in their game? Basically, he's an out-and-out striker. We see about that. The Celtic, the goal that Bayern get against us, he's left unmarked. He's left and standing in the box from a corner. You leave one of the best strikers in the world, whether you like to admit it or not. He is an absolute proven goal scorer. He is an incredible finisher of the ball. Now, what else does he really bring to that squad? He's not athletic. He's not got the pace. He's not got a lot in him. However, he's an out-and-out finisher. If they bring in a guy like Serge Gnabry, then that's essentially like us dropping Ida and bringing in Maeda, because he's going to have the pace going through the middle. He's going to cause other problems. I think Kane, you know what you're getting with him. And I think as much as it's a silly thing to say, but he's kind of easier to mark than a guy like Gnabry and Conman or whoever you put through the middle like that, because they're more unpredictable. Kane, you know what you're going to do. It's just dealing with it, basically.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, Paul. I thought, sorry, I'm going to come to yourself anyway. I felt that bar that one chance, of course, there was the one where there's a header, he's offside, but I genuinely felt that Carter Vickers and more so Trusty handled Harry Kane very adequately in that game.
I was just going to say that. They really seem to have him on a wee bit of a kind of tight leash. He does get the chances, and we knew for a fact before the game started that he would make chances. You know, his numbers speak for themselves. He's absolutely on fire. If he doesn't play, then as Paddy was saying, they've got plenty of options there. But we just have to be alert to it, you know, and be alive to whoever they play. We just play the same game and just keep a tight lead on them. But it's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
So hopefully we can get right in about it.
So, silly question time, boys. Of course, we know a draw's not going to do it. A win is all that is needed. I know it's easy to say, isn't it? But a win, let's be totally honest here, committed fans as we are, a very against the odds, unlikely win in Germany, in Munich, is what is required to get the job done. But in terms of a performance, because we always say this, and we always been bringing it up on the show constantly about seeing the shoots of development, to see improvement. There's no doubt that where we're at this moment in time, performances in the Champions League, we have improved. We've definitely improved. Maybe a couple of wee missteps where we could have improved, we could have done better. You know, a couple of games that we probably should have picked more points up in. But off the piece, as it says, if you were asked blindly at the start of the campaign, here's where you're going to be at, and you're going to be getting into a second game in a playoff round, and you're only going to be down 2-1 to Bayern Munich. I'm pretty sure most fans out there would take that and see that as real tangible progress from seasons gone by.
Yeah.
But when the game finishes tomorrow, obviously we all hope that it's going to be a win. But if we bring ourselves back to maybe being, how shall we say it, a wee bit more cautious.
Realist.
What or real, you can say that. What does a improvement and a good performance look like for Celtic? And don't give me the simple one, no doing. What does it look like?
For me, performance-wise, very similar to what happened at Parkhead. I don't think we got demolished. I don't think we got embarrassed. I think we played well. We caused them problems. We showed what we can do. Everybody always goes back to the Dortmund game, and that to me was the leveler. That was the one that kind of brought us back down and went, right, wait a fucking minute here. We need to reevaluate where we actually are in this competition, because in the league we're battering teams 6-0, 4-0, 5-0 here and there, comfortably keeping possession. And what did we have at the start of the season? 6 clean sheets or something. And you go into the Champions League having Kasper had 6 clean sheets, and we've scored 25 goals. And you go in there and Borussia Dortmund tear you a new arse and go, right, there you go, away back, and chew on that. And listen, it was a hard one to take. It really, really was. But we bounced back from it, and then we put in a performance. For me, probably our best performance in the Champions League this year. It might not be yours or anybody else's. A lot of people will say Leipzig and stuff probably, but for me, Atalanta away was the best performance I've seen from Celtic.
Yeah, I think that's because that's probably what we've been looking for. That element of finding balance.
Yeah, it was that part where they actually fucking butt down in the gum shield. Do you know what I mean? They took it and they went, right, let's go for this. Let's get the bit between the teeth. And if you go back and you look at the stats in that game, Atalanta had 32 crosses into the box, and Austin Trusty probably dealt with about 25 of them. He was outstanding that night. And going forward, we caused them trouble. Dyson Maeda had the chance to win it. We think back as well, and that game for me was the turning point for Celtic. So going into this game against Bayern, now I'm under no illusion in what we're going out to. This is going to be an absolute cauldron. It's going to be absolute madness. Bayern are going to come at us. We know what we're going to get. We know what they've got. But if we can go in there, bang an early goal, and just make them think about it that wee bit, then there's an opportunity. For me, I would love to get a result out of it, maybe see it go to extra time, possibly penalties, then it's anybody's game. If we can get a 2-1 out of that, then we're good. Do you know what I mean? We're looking good.
Yeah. I mean, it's stating the obvious here, Paul. Of course, what I'm wanting is a win. That's the 100%. Ultimate. That is the ultimate, because we then look at the potential sides that you could be facing, and we no disrespect to them, it's no any worse than Bayern Munich, put it that way, right?
Yeah.
That's the reality of it. There's no diddy teams in the Champions League, but you get yourself through. You've got another 2 games to worry about now. As I say, as unlikely as that may seem to some, you can dream. I think for me, if you ask me what am I looking for, I agree with the vast majority. I think we need to show a wee combination of all the things that we've learned this season. When to attack, when to defend, when to stay compact, when to just, game management. I definitely think that the blueprint was, in terms of dealing with the high quality, was Atalanta. I agree that with Paddy. Yeah. But we also need to find goals, because it's fine going out there and defending and coming away with a draw, but that's not going to be enough. No. I think we need to at times throw a wee bit of caution to the wind, and I prescribe to what a lot of people are saying, come out swinging. And for me, that is Jota, that's Maeda through the middle, that's Kuhn, and that's what we need to do. I think we need to go there. Right. There's no shame in it, and I think if you were to get behind by a goal or two in the first half, for talking sake, I think that the manager's smart and wise enough now that rather than go and say, well, do you know what, let's just go for it, because it doesn't matter if we get scudded 5-0 or we get scudded, or we get beat 2-0. I think that he would probably try to show things up, because I think the manager also doesn't want to have these embarrassing results on it. The fact that we took the one in Dortmund and then we have not since been anywhere near that shows you that there's reputation there. So I want Celtic to come away with a reputation intact, a win, absolutely. That's what I want. But I do think that we need to go out there. We need to ride the lightning, as I always say. Yeah, I think the expectancy of the home fans is going to be through the roof. So I says, in my mind, they're annoyed. They would have expected far more at Parkhead, despite the atmosphere and everything else. But I do think that we've got to, every man has got to be on it. And I think there's got to be a lot of guys who really, really, truly, really need to step up the pace. And one of them, you might not like me saying it, is Nicholas Kuhn. I think that bar Leipzig, he hasn't reached those levels that he has domestically, and this is really his opportunity to do it. We saw that early goal, that early phantom goal at home, and I thought, here we go, this is the game that he's going to do what I've just said there. But I felt, I don't know what it was, the fact that it got cut off, he drifted a wee bit. That's what I want to see. I'm wanting to see, if we're going to go out in a blaze of glory.
We've seen it in flashes from Kuhn, and then we've seen flashes of absolute brilliance like that finish the other night. But there has been this wee bit where he has been kind of inconsistent almost, although he's still producing. It's a strange thing to say. On one hand, he is still giving us these moments, but he isn't consistent at times. But you can see it in him, that he's just got that magic. I think tomorrow night, if we get a result, it'll reverberate. It'll be beating Barcelona times 10. It's a huge ask. The players will need to show a resilience and a tenacity that we know they've got, Atalanta, Leipzig, etc. Maybe in some regards what you were saying there about the Dortmund result, if you look back, if we were to get a positive result, you're thinking maybe the Dortmund result was the best thing that could have happened to us, and it's given the team such a kind of phase to now play through and to develop as a team. So no, I'm looking forward to it with optimism. I'm not making any predictions, but I think
I'm not.
We've made a great account of ourselves already.
I'll leave a prediction, boys. You know what I mean? And you said it there, Steve, as well. We can't have any passengers. We need everybody to be on their game, right? We need Arne Engels to play like he played against Slovan Bratislava. It's the best game I've ever seen him play. We need Adamida, if he starts to play like he played against Kelly 2 games before the end of the season last year.
Or as he did against Villa.
Or as he did against Villa, yes. We need Hatate to actually track back, to want the ball, to make passes, to be aggressive. We need Nicholas Kuhn to play, like you say, the way he did against Leipzig. We need Trusty to play the way he played against Atalanta. We need these players to be up for this game.
Yep.
If you're a fucking professional footballer and you can't get up for a game against Bayern Munich in the Allianz Arena in the Champions League latter stages, then what are you doing? It's as simple as that. This is probably the biggest stage some of these players are ever going to play in their lives. Go out and take it, grab it by the balls.
I would say, Paddy, we're sitting here and it's all just thoughts in our head at the moment. As I said, Ashley's, what does a good performance look like? Yeah, of course, a win. Do you know what? Anyone, even a win that doesn't put you through would be monumental. Genuinely, it'd be monumental considering the circumstances. I would take a draw. Of course, I would. See, if we're going to go out, then as long as it's on terms that look good and show that you've developed. I don't want 4-0, 5-0, 5-1, that kind of shite. If Celtic are going to go out, if that's the way the cards have to fall, then as I says, a draw or a narrow win that isn't enough to do it. I want to win. Of course, I want to go out there. I want to win. I want to qualify. But I will take anyone, even if that is not enough to get through, because I think that shows real, tangible improvement. I even think if you were to get beat 2-1 again, that shows real, tangible improvement. And it's to look forward to next season. There's a lot of learning things to take away. And I think the one thing about this campaign is that we can't say it hasn't been the case, is that when we hear we'll learn from it, well, we actually seem to have learned from it. And I think all the information, all the opportunity that we've had this season, that'll be filtered into next season, which we're going to have to qualify for. So, time to step up to the plate, isn't it, boys?
100%. Listen, we said it there. Celtic are 14-1 to win this game tomorrow. And you said about the learning thing now, after the Dortmund game, we keep going back to it, after the Dortmund game, Brendan saying that he wouldn't change the squad, it would be the same thing going forward and things like that. The squad did change, the mentality changed, and we've seen a total different side going into the Atalanta game. Now, that to me was the progression. That was the point where I went, now we're playing the European style of football. I've said it before about Rangers going into the Europa League and going into European competitions. That suits the way they play football. Because they like to absorb the pressure, then catch on the break and do things like that. So Celtic adapted to do that style of football in the Champions League. And if we can go out there, like you said, and get a result and show, the result for me isn't the be-all and end-all here, the performance. I want to see if every single player goes out there and is an 8 or higher, I'm happy.
Delighted.
I'll take an 8 or higher. Give me something.
I want to see players go out there and enjoy the occasion. I want them to fucking go for it. I really do. Like I say, I think
already the Dortmund team will already be giving us more respect than what they probably would have initially after the first leg.
And I think that's important, Paul. I think, sorry, did you just interject there? I think that's something that people did say we done too much of. We showed too much respect. We've done that wee bit of showing them respect. It's time to reverse that and just show none.
Ruthless, aye. Just be ruthless. It's such a big stage. It's such an opportunity. As I say, if we were to get anything from it, it would reverberate, forget Barcelona. It would just be, unbelievable. But, we need to go there and earn it. We need to go there and earn the right to really be in there with a chance, and that's just going to come through a lot of hard work, but a wee bit of luck as well.
And that's it. You want to play with the big boys. You want to be in this stage, and this is why we want to win the league every year. Yeah, we get bragging rights over the baddies at the other side of the city and things, but the be-all and end-all and where the money is in the Champions League, and that's what you want to do. You want to see your teams play against the best in the world, and that's what we're up against. That's exactly what we're getting here. So,
and let's not forget that this is with a squad that's still under construction.
Yes.
We've got a squad that still has surgery required, in my opinion, and that will come in the summer. So
definitely.
We're punching. We're definitely punching well, so we'll make continue.
If you're not punching, what's the point?
Exactly. The signs are there this season. Improvements, we say, if you're going to get down, if you're going to go down, you're going to go out getting a good account of yourself. There's no point in going out with a whimper. You know, that's exactly what. But anyway, listen, we've went just about an hour there. We're into the late hours. We're nearly at 11:30. So thank you to every one of you for joining us. As we say, just to reiterate, in case those who haven't seen it, on our posts in the community page here under the page and on our X, you will see the Did a Gap raffle outcome there. 5 winners have all been named, and 2 additional winners who will get an 8x10 that we also threw in there as well. Go on to our X at CWPod1888, contact us, give us your full delivery details, and we'll get the prizes out to you. We'll of course get money forwarded on to Mr. Agat, and we'll get a wee video saying thank you, which we will play on one of our upcoming broadcasts. So thank you to everybody for that. Thank you for joining us, of course, after the event, after the big match tomorrow. We're starting to get into that. I'm starting to feel the nerves already. We'll be here to cover it, no matter what the result is. But as we say, hopefully it is something very positive to be talking about. And also, one last, I saw there in the comments, a shout out to Tam and Snitch. I feel you, kindred spirits. I see you have been in and out of the hospital. You're going to the hospital. I got my release, thankfully, there at the end after nearly 2 weeks in. As I say, I'm done. I'm home. I am absolutely get the fear of trying to get myself out of this chair and onto crutches to move about. That's why I keep going off camera. But as I say, there'll be a lot of things that will stop us from getting on here. But my leg power's not going to be one of them. I don't need my legs to sit and speak to you guys about the team we all love. So anyway, we'll be back for the one tomorrow. Hopefully it's a result. Get the butterflies going. And that's it, as we say. So until the next time, all take care of yourselves. And as always, Paddy, tell them.
Hail, guys.
See you later. Bye-bye.